Mr. Harbant Singh Rangila was one of the men who became a street peddler. He came to Liverpool with his brother, Ajit Singh. He first tried to find work on the docks, but was often refused, the excuse being he was too old because he had a beard. Even though he was only 21 years old, they both found that they were discriminated against for being Sikhs and wearing turbans. In the face of such discrimination, many Sikhs shaved their beards and cut their hair. Being a street peddler was a hard life, walking the streets all day long, knocking on doors and carrying their wares was back-breaking. They sold clothes, toys, kitchen utensils and anything there was a demand for. To be a peddler in those days, one needed a license from the police. The police often made things difficult for the men to get a license unless they were offered bribes. Mr. Bahadur Singh also started out as a peddler. He came to Liverpool from Lahore, which is now in Pakistan. He was aged 36 in 1929. He first stayed in Toxteth at 64 Stanhope Street. Not only was he a peddler, but also a fortune teller. He must have been quite a sight, an Indian man knocking on doors, offering to tell your fortune. Mr. Bahadur Singh was eventually joined in England by his wife, Tikka Devi, referred to affectionately as Mataji or Mother. She was one of the first Sikh women, if not the first, to settle in Liverpool, and played an important part in establishing an Asian community. Tikka Devi was a very religious woman. She helped and supported many of the people who arrived from India. She would put them up in her own home and feed them, regardless of whether they were Hindu or Muslim. She was seen as a mother figure by many Indian men who came here in the 40s and 50s. For many men, she took the place of their real mother or sister. Another street peddler was Mr. Baijnath Randev. He, like others, found it hard, if not impossible, to find employment. Mr. Randev came from the district of Jalandhar, from a village near Flore in Punjab. He arrived here in 1936 as a young man in his early 20s and lived at Carlingford Road, Toxteth.